Here we go. Afternoon, everyone. Again, we are here on day 5 of the Global Happy Homes Summit. I'm Jessica Mcilveen, and it's an absolute pleasure to have all of these experts and leaders and practitioners from all over the world really gathering and joining forces to support you and your family so that we can thrive during the current challenges that you're facing, so that you can still have a happy home, even though it feels like it might be impossible right now. So I'm delighted to say I've got Jessica Palmer joining us this afternoon. Hey, Jess.
Hi Jess. Hi, everyone.
So I guess I'd love for you to just, share with everybody who you are, Jess, and what you get to do in this world.
Yes, thank you. Well, I'm a few different things. First and foremost, I am a mum. I am a mum of 3 children under the age of 5. So I have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 10-month-old baby, which is currently running amok down here in case you hear some strange noises. Totally normal. It's just my little child.
Sure.
And I'm also 20 weeks pregnant. So that's first and foremost. But I'm also a coach of coaches. I am a trainer. So I train coaches to become breakthrough coaches. And, after my own experience, especially through motherhood was actually the vehicle that put me into my purpose and into this work. My mission is actually to cut the suicide rate by 50% by 2025. And I do that through empowering leaders to empower others.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Yeah. So, okay, let's flow on from that, because I'm really interested to hear your journey then through motherhood, because people will resonate or, get some bits from your own journey and story. So how was it that you found your purpose through motherhood? What were the challenges and the ticking point for you?
Yes. So I just want to, first of all, have just a little bit of a trigger warning. So, so there's some stuff around domestic violence, and then also around suicide as well. So prior to becoming a mother, I was in the training and development space. So this is where the training piece comes in for me. Once I decided to become a mother, I was then obviously at home. And I gave birth to my first child back in 2015, and it was just beautiful. It was so, so beautiful. So what happened 7 weeks later is someone I love actually killed someone that I loved. Okay. I then, 9 months later, had another person that was very close to me who committed suicide. So over this 15-month period, I lost a lot of loved ones, experienced like a strong sense of adversity and challenges whilst becoming a mother twice. So I also gave birth twice within that 15-month period. Okay. So what it taught me is how resilient and strong I actually am. It also taught me, my introduction to motherhood was actually witnessing a mother who had just lost her child. My niece who's lost her mother, and then also my mother who's carrying a lot of shame and grief from her child committing such a heinous crime. So for me, motherhood actually expanded my ability to witness the truth of what is really happening and to find calm in a chaotic environment. So this was a very highly publicized incident that occurred, and yeah, like honestly, once I was dealing with a lot of trauma post, PTSD from that. I then fell into postnatal depression, and I got to this point where I really was brought down to my knees. And if you're someone that has experienced any of these things before, where you're in this deep depression, you have that dark night of the soul, where you're brought to your knees, then there's a choice that gets to be made. So for me, the choice was, I'm going to choose to live, and I'm going to also choose to live my absolute best life. How that looks, I have no idea, but I'm going to open up this conversation with myself and to just begin to find opportunities to bring in more mindfulness, to bring in more health and well-being into my life. So what I did is I actually documented my journey in a blog called The Gold Coast Mama. So I no longer run that. But that's why I have a lot of mums that actually follow me. So I'm like an unintentional influencer for mums. And a lot of my clients are mums as well. So I began to actually discover my own ways to achieve mindset and mindfulness through developing a very deep connection with myself and beginning to really listen to what it is that I needed and to find moments where I could be more mindful.
Mm-hmm.
For example, changing my routine,
Mm-hmm.
you know, beginning to change what everything means, you know, even something as simple, you know, for mums that are currently homeschooling and they've got kids all over the place, trying to do it all. Maybe they're working from home as well. They're trying to get all the cleaning done. You know, we get this guilt, the mummy guilt comes up. And we attach all this meaning that if we don't, you know, we don't have the house perfectly clean, we don't have all the washing done, does that mean am I a bad mum?
Yeah.
So I began to unpack all of those beliefs that I had accepted into my life unconsciously at the time, and to become aware of them and to choose some more empowering beliefs and to create a new routine and a new way of living for me. So throughout this time, with the amount of stress that I had going on as well, the inner dialogue that I had was, I am weak. That was one of the biggest themes that came through. So naturally, what happened to my body? My body became really weak. It responded to that. So I began to develop tendinitis, you know, so much inflammation in my body. It was just incredible. And of course, this also makes you feel very irritable and things like that.
Sure.
So as I began to become more conscious and connected with my body, with what kind of life I'm wanting to create, I then just began to just tap into, okay, what is it that my body wants to eat right now? So, and this is before I knew anything about conscious eating or I didn't know any of these labels, but somehow naturally I was doing it.
Yeah.
Because I was so connected to myself.
Yes.
And what I did as well is I'm like, how can I create space for myself? And this is one of the biggest things that mums struggle with, creating that space and time to hear your own thoughts, to process your own thoughts. So for me, there were a few different things which I'll share with you guys. The first was creating a routine, which I call the powerful mindset routine. So a lot of us mamas stay up really late getting things done once we're like, oh, the kids are asleep, like now we're going to have a cup of tea, we're going to do the cleaning, whatever it is, the work that we need to follow up on, paying the bills, whatever it is. Yeah. So what I chose, I'm like, what would happen if I changed that? What if I switched that to the morning and I actually went to bed around the same time as my children? And this is a very foreign concept for a lot of mamas. So yes. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to commit to this. So I did it straight for 3 months. I got up at 4:30 every single morning, and I was really intentional with how I used that time. So I would go to sleep before 9 p.m. So I would wind down around about 8:30 whilst the kids were going to sleep, and then I would go to sleep. And then I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning and I would have a 1 hour block, which is for me, which is personal development, exercise, whatever I needed to fill my cup. Sometimes that means catching up on a show that makes you laugh on Netflix. It could be that. Or it could be something that you're like, I'm really just going to meditate for half an hour and then I'm going to do some movement for another half an hour, whatever it is that you needed. Hello. So, and for me, that's when I was really, this is baby Vanessa. So for me, I would spend that hour as well. I'd do half an hour, which was very much around meditation or movement. And then an additional half an hour where I was completely focused on expanding my mindset around what it is that I wanted to learn, which was around mindset, mindfulness, leadership. You know, I also studied a Bachelor of Arts in Languages and Linguistics. The communication, things like that was also things I'm very passionate about. So I allowed myself that space to learn. And in that moment as well, you're so fresh in the morning, so fresh. So I'd spend an hour doing that on filling up my own cup, and then an hour on doing things that were preparing myself and my household for when my children woke up at 6:30. If your child is under the age of 18 months, it's not as easy to do. But once your child is over 18 months, this is, because I don't want to set people up for failure as well. This just works really well for people that have children over the age of 18 months or are sleeping through the night solidly without waking up.
Sure.
Yeah. So then the second hour from 5:30 to 6:30 was doing all the washing. So I didn't have to do it for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaning the kitchen, getting the breakfast prepped. So as soon as they woke up, it was like there, ready for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I then became, I was still a stay-at-home mum at that time. I hadn't gone back to work yet.
Mm-hmm.
And people would ask me, what do you do? And I would say, I'm a professional mama. Like, I really wanted to fully embrace the fact that being a mum is a profession. So I was like, I'm going to demand the respect that I feel I deserve. So I'm not a stay-at-home mum. I'm a professional mama.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah. And chose to kind of really treat it as that. So I fully allowed myself to fully be embraced in that. Obviously going through sharing on my blog and then upskilling and then launching my coaching business, which has been going for 2 years now.
Yeah.
So that's really, and that's not the whole story. There's still even more obstacles and things like that. But that's really the catalyst. The work that I do is an extension and a continuation of expressing the love that I have for the people that I've lost. And just being that pillar of choosing love at all times,
Mm-hmm.
but also implementing strategies so that we can live our best life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing all of that. And so I guess for you, Jess, bringing it back to, I guess, the current challenges or current climate of what families, might be going through, because it's varied. The experiences are very varied at the moment.
Yes.
And I guess because of that, I'm getting everyone's take on what you're seeing. So you work with families, you work with mums, probably got people coming to you still, and you're having conversations with multiple people. So what have you been seeing in the last couple of weeks from parents, from mums?
Absolutely. So I'm just going to go literally back to maybe 2 hours ago when I just ran a session. I ran a strategy session with a client, and she had to homeschool her children before our session. And then she had her children in the background who were obviously, keep coming in and demanding. And I could see that, she's like, I really want to do this. And then trying to maintain the balance and the dance between being present with what you're doing and being present with your children is a real skill set. So I could actually identify that. So there's a lot of mums that are feeling like, I don't have enough time for myself. That's probably one of the biggest things that I'm hearing is, I just feel like I don't have enough time. And, this is a theme that mums have come up, even prior to this. Absolutely. So now it's now amplified from this situation, especially if you're homeschooling your children and working from home.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's definitely what I'm hearing too. And you're right. It's not a theme that hasn't been heard. It's just that the dial has been turned up right now on everything that's already been there. Yeah. So I guess for you, in that moment with that mum, but for mums watching at the moment, how are we meant to do the dance? How are we meant to ensure that we're not feeling so stressed because we think we're missing out on this part of my life? There's a cost over this side with my children. There's a cost here with my business. So how does all of that tie in to what you're supporting your clients with at the moment?
Yeah. So there's a few different things. So the first thing I really want to preface before I go into the actual more strategic side of things is around how to reground and recenter yourself in those moments where you're like, this person's asking for a sandwich and this client is calling me, and whatever is happening, and it's all feeling very chaotic. So as you can see, I'm able to maintain quite a strong sense of presence, even with a baby, having a great time on my back right now.
Yeah.
So the goal is to find ways to be present, these little pockets and these moments of being present. So I use something which I call is the ABCs. So this is like something I teach for mums. Mm-hmm. So acknowledge, breathe, and then celebrate. So find ways to actually celebrate yourself,
Mhm.
because the fact that you are able to do half of what you may be doing right now is absolutely incredible. So take a moment to stop when you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, and you're feeling that, that overwhelm, the tense feelings coming up. Take a moment to actually stop and pause just for one moment, and to actually acknowledge, don't avoid the emotions, but acknowledge what is happening, acknowledge the sensations in your body, acknowledge that I'm feeling pretty activated or pretty stressed right now. So first of all, acknowledge it.
Mhm.
Then take a couple of deep breaths, and then celebrate yourself. So for me, when I, like bathing 3 children aged under 5 in the morning and feeding them, and attempting to also, take care of myself, wash myself, feed myself, nourish me, that can be quite a process. So for me, using this acknowledge, breathe, celebrate, what I'll do is I'll acknowledge that I'm feeling stressed. Then I'll take a deep breath. And then I'll celebrate. You know what, Jess, you've done, literally talk to yourself like you are a cheerleader for yourself. Be your own champion and tell yourself, it's amazing that you've got these kids into the bath.
Yes.
Well done. So it's these little small moments. So even for me, getting the kids into the car, if we're going to go grocery shopping or whatever it is, I maybe take a moment, literally once I get them in the car, I'll do my ABCs. When I then get to the grocery store, before I get them out of the car, I'll do my ABCs again. And it only takes me a couple of minutes. But I'll create that space for me so that I can be present for myself and my children. So the ABCs, acknowledge, breathe, celebrate.
Yeah, that's super easy. Super easy
Super
to
easy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess I've got 2 questions. What is mindfulness to you, first of all? So what is mindfulness?
Mindfulness is the ability to be present.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's a state of peace.
Yeah. Okay. And that's one strategy that you can use to actually find that and create that for yourself, that sense of mindfulness and inner peace. And the second question would be around that. So what is a healthy mindset? We talk about mindset quite a bit, and we've got mindset coaches, and okay, how do I create a healthy mindset? Well, what exactly is a healthy mindset to you?
For me, healthy mindset is definitely one that is resilient. So for me, mindfulness, I associate that completely with peace and harmony. Mindset is something where it's more around strategy, optimization, resilience. So for me, it's really developing that muscle of strategy and resilience. So problem solving, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. And during times of adversity, these are the perfect opportunities to really build that resilience for yourself. But also, let's not forget, this is a perfect time for children too. We don't need to be protecting them from all types of adversity, because this is great for them. So I guess, what would be your first steps if somebody came to you and said, I'm just really overwhelmed and stressed, and I actually don't know how to get out of it. I've been feeling like this for a few weeks now. I don't know how to shift my mindset.
Yeah. So it's really discovering, people get very caught up in their perceptions versus the facts. So the first thing is to actually look at, okay, so what is true? Like, what is actually true? And how can we, often it comes from a lack of certainty as well, with all of these negative emotions coming up. So we want to discover, well, what is actually true? Like, what is the actual problem? Because often, as many of the coaches that are in here, yourself, Jess, what we always believe is the problem never is the actual problem. So then there are a lot of themes coming up where people are feeling disappointed within themselves when they actually peel back the layers, that they haven't prepared for a moment such as this, in terms of finances, or perhaps maybe in their personal growth. So this moment in time is an awakening that is forcing us to learn how to become more present, to learn how to become more resilient, to learn how to become more versatile, and to learn how to adapt. So first of all, this is an invitation. So that's the first thing, to figure out what is the actual truth. Is this actually a problem, or what's the real problem? That, you know, what is the actual root cause of this problem? Let's discover what that is, and to also identify the facts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing. Just kind of get real with the facts.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
That awareness piece first.
Yeah, awareness. That's definitely a word that pops up quite often and has done with some of the speakers in here too. That really is key. And, you know, so we're aware, we've got awareness. Okay, I understand that that's maybe not the truth. Okay, great. And then, you know, in your eyes, is that when we practice mindfulness, so we start to ground, or is this still an opportunity to challenge our views and our perceptions that we had?
Yeah, so I feel that there's a couple of things there, that they are still connected. So we do want to actually align our mind with our hearts, which is bringing in that mindset and mindfulness together. That's really important. So when we are focused on the mind, that's when we're getting caught up in our head, and we do need to drop back into our body, which is to do a bit of grounding, but also don't think just because you're doing the grounding that you can't take some other actions and gain some more clarity. So now what we're wanting to do, we've got awareness, we're feeling a little bit more grounded, but we want to actually receive a lot of clarity and certainty and direction. So we want to find, you know, what are the actions that are going to actually make me feel better right now?
Yeah.
If I was able to change one thing, and I highly recommend that you only ever focus on one thing at a time. Multitasking, which all mamas do, and we do an amazing job at it, it's very, very damaging to our nervous system. So I do not recommend doing, if you're going to multitask, just place the boundary of doing two things at once. But ideally, one thing at a time. One thing at a time, so that you can be present and do a good job at it. One thing at a time. You may feel like, oh my gosh, it's going to take so long. But when you're stopping and starting, that's not optimizing your day. You're actually causing, you know, you're not finishing jobs, and you're starting jobs and doing it again and again. But yeah, so to the awareness piece, to get more clarity, and also to find ways to bring more certainty into your life, which is, okay, well, if I just change this one thing, is that the thing that would make me feel better right now? Yeah, okay. So why am I frustrated? I'm frustrated because I feel like I don't have enough time. Okay, what's one thing that you can do to create, to make life more convenient, to create more time for yourself? And really, that creating time, if you just remove things that cause you to have to make a decision, then you feel like you have more time because you don't have that decision fatigue, and it feels like you've got less on your plate. Yeah. So if you begin to, you know, implement, okay, you know what, I am going to try this new routine.
Perfect.
Or I am going to food prep. And maybe if I can't food prep all the meals in the whole universe, like the Instagram mums that you see, that's okay. Just do one. Can you prep breakfast? Can you prep your lunches? Can you maybe just prep some fruit? And then you can celebrate yourself when you're doing that, when you've done it, and then when you deliver it to the children and to yourself. So just breaking everything down into little steps and celebrating those little milestones, but taking the decision-making piece out of it will help you to not experience as much overwhelm as you are right now. So creating space to breathe, creating certainty in actions, and to focus on that one thing, like be on mission with that one thing. I'm going to food prep the lunches, and that's going to make my life so much easier.
Yes, perfect. They're really solid practical tips. Thank you. And you mentioned something previously around self-care, you know, that's really an important piece of parenthood and of motherhood. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And I guess, you know, your clients would have children of all ages. And I guess I would love to hear from you, in your experience, why, you know, for the family dynamic and for the health and well-being of the entire family, why is it so crucial for parents and for mums to have that self-care practice? I mean, what are the flow-on effects of that?
Yeah. So when your energy becomes heightened because you're stressed, and you're this container where you've been holding in all this emotion because you're trying to be the good mom, the good wife, the good friend, the good everything, the good girl, the good woman. And you're holding all this emotion when what you need to do is fully express yourself. So I'm really passionate about encouraging people to live in their most authentic expression. And what that means is, again, acknowledging, and you can do it in a neutral way. You don't have to literally, a lot of people think, if I authentically express myself, I'm just going to yell and scream. That's, maybe, but not always. For me, I focus on just being neutral. So, and being really curious about it too. I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now. And, I often place my hands on my heart and I take a deep breath and I ask myself, like, what do I need right now? What do I need right now? And what I can say is, as I've had more and more children, the more children you have, the more time you actually need to invest in self-care. So what that may look like is, one, finding pockets of time to meditate if you can. And these don't have to be like your standard, like sitting on a rock monk meditations. These can also be on the spot in motion meditations when you're doing other tasks and bringing more mindfulness into your life. But for me, meditating and breath work is really powerful for me. So I will find moments, whether that means the kids are napping, the older one, she doesn't really nap, but she might, want to do some drawing. She may want to watch something. And that's a pocket of time that I can get, can I give myself 5 minutes? Can you give yourself 5 minutes in the day to meditate? So the other thing is, when the kids do go to sleep, also taking a moment to process what has happened throughout the day, to process your emotions. So to take that moment to be still.
Yes.
Or maybe for you, it may actually be you need to actually move your body. So I'll do all sorts of things where I'll feel into what it is that I feel I need. So it might be, I will meditate. I may meditate with music. I may not. It depends on what I'm feeling.
Sure.
What I will also do is I will massage my own body. So I know that sounds a little bit weird, but so I will, that's a beautiful, like, feminine embodiment practice too. It's to just, like, really just massage your body, touch your body. If you are, going to go have a shower or a bath or whatever it is, like, this is like a beautiful thing that you can do in the bath. And even if it's something simple as like this, like, that can feel super soothing and relaxing.
Yes.
And you're reconnected. That is the thing. The goal is to reconnect with yourself. And when you do deeper stuff, it's to reclaim your essence. Because people think, oh, I've forgotten who I am. I don't know my identity. But your identity is just an illusion. It's really your essence, which we want to claim that. But really begin to just honestly reconnect with yourself. Do whatever it takes to reconnect with yourself. So for me, the massaging, the breath work, and sometimes I'll have music and I'll, like, just in my headphones, so I'm not waking up the whole household while everyone's sleeping, because that is something I definitely don't want to do. Yes. I'm like, shh, everyone be quiet. And yes, so I will, just allow my body to, like, move however it wants to. And even to the point, like with my routine and the self-care piece, I'm really cautious about the first thing that I think of in the morning and the last thing that I think of before I go to sleep. So those two thoughts, when we're in a very suggestible state. So what you think of at the beginning and the end of the day really, really matters. And I know that if I don't bring awareness to that immediately, that my day might not go as smoothly as I like it to go. So even when I wake up in the morning, the first thing that I do is I begin to breathe, and I actually begin to move my body, and I move my hips just to get my body moving. And I just think of one thing that I'm grateful for. So as you can see, I try to keep everything as simple as possible. Yeah. So I don't say get up and journal 10 things, because for someone that's experiencing overwhelm and anxiety, that is too much of a big list for them to do. But to just can you think of one thing that you are grateful for when you wake up in the morning? and to just bring all of your awareness and emotion to that one thing. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So then as you get out of bed, you've rolled out of bed and you're like, oh, I feel amazing. I'm just moving my body for like, and this literally only takes a few minutes.
Yeah.
So that for me, as soon as I wake up in the morning to when I'm going to sleep, I'm very particular with what happens, because I know if I don't do things, and again, I'm still versatile. I go, I don't feel like doing that, but what will I do in that time? So set space and time. You don't have to do X, Y, and Z. It might just be free time for you. Self-love time. And you just choose what you want to do at that time.
Thank you. There's been so many practical tips on how to just become grounded, become mindful, and to just start tweaking that mindset of yours. And if you are watching, I share what the one tip, actually the one practical strategy that you're going to implement. It's really important, as Jess said, to just pick one. That's it. Just pick one to focus on for this week. So I guess, Jess, is there, as we start to wrap things up, is there anything that you feel we haven't touched on at the moment, but you feel like it's something that parents need to know? I mean, as a parent, what is it that you want to hear right now, or during your times of adversity? What are the best things that people could say to you? So what else, if there is anything else? I'm just opening it up for you.
Yes, I think the last thing is around the community piece. So finding ways to actually connect with other mums, finding places like this group. There's many other groups that are popping up. Join some communities where you can actually find an online sisterhood, an online community where, and if you're also a father, there's also, men's work and things like that. Find communities, conscious parenting groups, where you can say, oh my gosh, I'm struggling with this. Who has an answer for this? Because the truth is, every journey as a parent is individual and different. But if we can learn from each other, if like, oh, what do you do? Oh, that sounds really good. I'm going to use that. Or no, that's not for me, but thank you. Sure. But just finding that relatability as well, I think, is really important, so that you feel heard. A lot of people aren't feeling heard and they're feeling disconnected, which is why all of these online spaces that are being created right now are really important. And, they're going to be really important for the next 6 months to come as well.
Certainly.
At least.
Thank you for sharing that. That's a really additional important piece to consider. And I'd like to finish off with 2 questions, Jess. So the first one is, what in your personal world, in the last couple of weeks, with all this craziness, these changes that were unpredictable, what have been the opportunities that you have experienced and chosen to experience? What's been amazing that would never have happened if COVID-19 wasn't here and didn't exist?
That's an interesting question. See, for me, I am so grounded in my practices and what I do, but I think what it is I'm thinking of my husband, actually. So because of what has happened, so he has a plumbing business. He's felt a little bit more stressed because he has employees, some of whom he's had to let go because of what is currently happening right now. And he's feeling the weight of that. So, he does like to meditate. Like, we often meditate as a family before we go to bed. But he's actually like, I think I need to do something deeper. So he's been trying breath work and things like that. So it's actually opened him up more to trying different strategies, which actually flows into our family as a whole.
Of course.
Yeah, and just honestly bringing deeper connections and more quality family time as well, just more peace. And I think that's the biggest thing for me personally.
Yeah, it has been a common thing throughout, this whole series of speakers is, and that more family time, more connection is really been one of the biggest opportunities. So it's really great to hear more and more people just taking that opportunity and seeing it for one. The last question, Jess, is, what does a happy home look and feel like to you?
Oh, that's such a beautiful question. Oh, I love it so much. So, a happy home, for me, happy and healthy home, you know, for me, I automatically start thinking about food. So I'm beginning, bringing like smells, like really just like really nourishing, like comforting, like nourishing and comforting food. Your family all together, like sharing the food. Like that's what it looks like for me, and everyone just having a good time, having a bit of a laugh.
Sure.
Um, yeah, food.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go in the world, food always brings you joy. We seek the
Yes.
food because this magical effect on people, doesn't it? So I hear you. I hear you. So Jess, for people that have enjoyed listening to you and that would want to hear more from you and find out a bit more, where's the best place for them to contact you or to see you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Facebook or Instagram. I go by the handle at Jessica Palmer Official. So find me along there. And yeah, always sharing different, mindset, mindfulness, leadership type content. And if anyone has any questions as well about what I've shared, just pop them in the comments below and I'll come back and answer the questions.
Yeah, of course, of course. Thank you so much. Well, it's been so lovely to listen to you, Jess, and you've shared just an abundance amount of tips and strategies to help our families. So I really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you and your family have a beautiful afternoon and wish you a lot of joy through this time too.
So much. Before we go as well, I just want to say to any mum or dad that's watching this, I want you to know that I fully acknowledge you in this moment. Like, I want to acknowledge the parents and the hard job, the work that they are doing. You are doing an amazing job. I want to say that.
Yeah, and I don't think they can hear it enough. It's just something that's yeah. So thank you for raising that. That's beautiful. What a great end. Thank you so much, Jess, and thank you
Thank
everyone
you so much
for
for having
listening.
me.
Yeah, and I will see you all this afternoon for a few more speakers. And Jess, I will talk to you again soon. Bye, everyone.